Tom, are you okay?
I lost her.
Her?
She was going to be this epic, trilogy-worthy character. I was going to be the hottest writer in Hollywood. But I can't get past Act 1!
You need some writers group therapy. Hello and welcome to Writers Group Therapy.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Roshni. We're writers helping writers. Are you ready for your session? The doctors are in. So today we have a special guest with us, Michael Coulombe.
Ooh, very good.
Did I say it right?
Yeah, you did very good.
Yay!
I know. Once you know it, it's hard to forget it. But you just have to look at it. It's all vowels. Like if I ever get famous and my name was on Wheel of Fortune, you'd have to pay for it. It's all vowels.
Oh man, I like that.
Yeah.
So we met at a networking group that you used to do in Atwater Village, but you are a very busy guy. So why don't you tell our listeners in brief all the things you do?
Well, first and foremost, so I got into film about 12 years ago, and I actually am a script supervisor. So it means I make movies for a living. I work on set. I track the continuity of stuff. Right. So like we shoot movies out of order. So my job is to make sure the continuity makes sense. But I also log all the information for the editor to help cut the picture. So like that's what it's called. It's called the script supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also write. I've also been getting into writing and directing more. I did used to run a networking event, which sadly I don't do anymore, but it's just because I moved. But I go to so many conventions and film festivals and events all the time that I'm basically doing the same thing. I just don't have to host it,
Which is kind of nice. Takes the pressure off.
And then I also have a podcast because I do my own podcast called Mimosas with Michael. So I always talk to people and like to. And the concept of my show is basically like, it's usually two, like me and another person. So it's usually like just two friends catching up over a mimosa.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just talk. We just talk. So sometimes it gets deep. Sometimes it gets funny. But it's always fun. It's fun, lighthearted, entertaining, informative. All the things that life is.
Awesome. So as far as your day job, which is actually I can't speak, pretty
okay.
cool. But script supervising, it's not like you go to school for that. So how did you get into that?
Well, I guess, you don't go to like film school for it. I actually took a technical class here in Van Nuys, actually, where I live. But this was like 13 years ago. A friend of mine was like, "Hey, Michael, you're a really good writer. Do you ever want to write a script with me?" And I was like, "I don't know anything about writing scripts." So he's like, "Hey, I know of this guy that teaches this class about script supervising. Maybe you should take it." And I'm seeing your little chats down here at the bottom.
Distraction.
No,
Pay
okay.
no
I'm like,
attention.
oh, what are they gonna ask next?
Focus.
I know.
Back on track.
Don't give away your secrets, man. Come on.
I know. I'm sorry. I just was like, oh, what's next? No, but so I took the course on because I script supervising or learning the skill of script supervising taught me how to script breakdown. And I'm kind of segueing into your next question. I can see here, but it's because I wanted to be a writer, and
Mm-hmm.
I had a full-time job I didn't like. So learning the skill, and it was really fun. I never wanted to be a script supervisor. I just didn't want to be doing what I was doing. Right. But then I learned the craft. I studied for about 6 months. And then I was like, okay, well, now I gotta do that. What the hell do I do? And then I went back to my job for 6 months, but was like, I'm done with this stuff. So one day I literally was so angry with something that happened at work, and it was just enough with like everything else that was happening that I just got up from my like, I'm not even joking. I just like got up from my desk, walked into human resources, and quit. And the woman's like, what? She's like, what are you gonna do? And I was like, I'm gonna make movies. And she's like,
Oh, wow.
okay, how are you going to do that? I was like, I have to quit my job first. I'll figure out the rest. And that's the honest truth. And I cashed out my retirement and lived off that for about a year and a half until I could figure it out. It took me about...
Oh, I'm not the only person who's done that. Oh my God.
No. The only difference is like 2.5 years into the industry, just as I was growing and building, we hit the writer's strike of the recession, and I had to start all over again. And it was hard because my mom was like, see, you can't work in this industry. You can't do it. It's too tough. And I'm like, Mom, no, the whole world is like, right now, the whole country is on a recession. It's not just film.
Yeah. And you've worked on like over 150 films, right? Or something like that?
Actually, I just hit 200 on IMDb.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
So
why I have no
yeah,
social life, you guys.
that's a pretty busy career doing something that, and it is difficult. People outside the industry don't understand how, when we work in the business, how it starts and stops a lot. It's not always continuous, so they have trouble
No.
grasping how that can be a career. But
Yeah.
obviously, you do it, and you work
Well,
on
what am
enough
I?
movies, and you
Well, my
keep
script
busy.
supervising teacher told me you'll have a lifetime of unemployment.
Oh, well, you proved them wrong.
Not unemployment, like a lifetime of, well, because you always go from job to job in a sense. So you
Yeah.
do a job, then you're unemployed. But and it's interesting because there'll be for the most part, and this is a couple times this year, I was doing a lot of I mostly been doing commercials. I usually do features. This year I've been doing a lot of shorts and commercials. It isn't until the second half of the year that I um started doing more features. But um I would have 6 weeks without work. And I'm like, that's how a lot of the stuff gets done. Because I'm like, well, I can't sit around here for 6 weeks. So I look for work. But in the meantime, I'm like, well, I'll write a script or I'll start a
Mm,
podcast or, that's just how I do this. So that. But the great thing is it's really, what's great about script supervising is that because I'm just involved I sit right next to the director and I talk to the actors and I literally am involved in every department because I track pretty much like wardrobes and props and set dressing and hair and makeup. So it's like I've learned to work with every department.
that's
And
really good.
and part of my job is to make sure that a movie can cut and is covered correctly. So what's great about, in fact, I had somebody tell me one time, they're like, he goes, when I read your scripts, you write like a script supervisor, which my paragraphs are simply structured because I space them out so they're easy to read, which is from a script supervisor because when we lie in the script. But not only that is like I can track my props. So it's like if there's a prop, because I'll read a script. Part of a script supervising is I'll read a script breakdown, and it's like I'll start on scene 1, and by scene 47, they'll be like, oh, the actor checks his watch. I'm like, he had a watch. I have to go back 46 scenes and write that watch in. So on my breakdown, so I'm aware at any time we shoot a scene, he has to have that watch, right?
Ah,
But when I
yeah.
write, I make sure if I want him to have a watch, he has a watch from scene 1 all the way through. I'm like, he checks his watch, or I'll like, it's just things like that. So I think I've learned to be able to carry props and certain things like that I want, just because I've always done it. It's also helped
That's
me.
amazing.
It's also helped me write because, like, I understand coverage, so it's like I can write a scene in a way where I know it can be shot easily and quickly. I think. I don't know, but it's also helped me become a director because I've made so many movies, and this is a stepping stone into directing. Really, is because
Mhm.
the technical aspect of filmmaking I can do in my sleep. It's second nature, right?
Ah.
So
But so much of filmmaking is technical, so that's a skill you actually really need.
yeah, and so I get that from script supervising. So as a director, I already know how to work with every department, so it's great. I understand the process of collaborating, which is the best thing you can do, I think, as a director. And then, because I think my job as a director is to like help my team do the best they can do. If I bring on a costume designer, I need to let them design costumes. It's their job to help me create my look. So if I work together and we can create a great look because they might have ideas that I hadn't thought about or presenting it in a way that makes sense. Like I feel like every time this character is on camera, they're kind of blue. So what if we give them like a blue and then, you know, like we give them this like light blue shirts or something. So it's sort of like a thing. And then maybe the DP can sort of like light towards that. So yeah, so anyways, it's I like that kind of stuff. I like being able to have that sort
Well, it
of
Mhm.
helps you,
knowledge.
work better on set with everybody. So,
Yeah.
you're kind of speaking their language. You're kind of like a universal translator.
Yeah, it's funny because I never expected it, and I love it. I just never expected it. Like I always wanted to be a writer. I just never thought that I would be, because I mean at this point, I mean I used to write poetry. I have a book published. I've had a play produced, and now I make movies. Like it's all like I've had so many different lives. I feel like, and I'm
And
only
yet they're all converging together.
that is kind of true. That's actually very true.
Yeah.
What are you working on these days? Bet it's probably a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like, so I can't go into this too much, but my writing partner and I just sold a script.
Woo,
Congrats!
Thank you.
yay!
And I can't sadly talk about it. We'll have to come back on the show and talk about it, but I can't go into too much detail now. It's just one of those things.
Of course.
But then, so I don't necessarily want to be specifically a horror writer, but I definitely love horror. And so, my writing partner and my friend, which is the phone call I had earlier today, where we launched it's like a short form content on YouTube called Horror House.
Oh, okay.
And so we wrote our very first thing that we sent out is called Soundbite. It's a 4.5 minute short about a woman who listens to this song called Death Song. And it's like what happens to you when you listen to the song, right? So like the idea is you've seen The Ring and you watch this video and it kills you. We're doing the audio version in a sense, right? So we did that. So we launched that on Halloween, and it was amazing. People are loving it. And so our next one now is we're going to be shooting. It's called Bag of Tricks. So it's just little horror shorts. And so the idea is this is the sort of platform where we can show my writing partner as a writer and then me as a director. They're really short, fun, little. So that's kind of what we're working on. And they're simple. It's like we shoot them over a couple of days, we make them look really nice, and then we release them.
And where are they released on?
It's just if you look up Horror House on YouTube, you'll see it. Horror House Media is what it's under, but yeah. So it's it's a place where you want to make movies, and we also want to like interview horror filmmakers and really showcase. It's like one of the great things about that movie Get Out was that it was written and directed by a black man, right? And it won awards like Oscars, which was something. First of all, horror doesn't really win Oscars, but so to even be nominated was great, right? And then to have it be written and directed and starring a black man was huge. So one of the things we want to do with Horror House is we'd like to showcase black filmmakers, gay filmmakers, women, people who love the industry and don't ever get a chance. It's just a way to like showcase it as much as we can.
Oh, that's awesome. Are they supposed to be connected stories, or just each one is an individual thing?
Oh no, each one's an individual thing. It's just meant to be. But we'll use some of the same actors, I guess, in a way like they do with American Horror Story. But like you'll get to see our actors doing other things. So like someone might play, so in Soundbite we use this actress Taylor Murphy Sinclair, right? She's just a basic white girl. That's what we call her, a basic white girl who's in a college dorm, right? And she listens to the song. So the next time you see her, 4 projects from now, she might be a witch or completely something different. That's what we love about it. It's just like, let's just make fun horror projects. The people love horror, and it's like,
yeah.
And we're trying to hit him. Like I'm going to make features because we want to adapt Soundbite into a feature. But the idea is the YouTube market is like you're hitting a younger audience as well. And it's so easy. Like you can watch these on your phone, and there will still be just, I just bought a new phone. I have the Samsung Note 9, and it's like crisp, clear, beautiful sound. So I can watch these on my phone, and it's like, and now you can I can, mirror it to my TV so I can watch stuff there. It's like, it's so amazing,
Wow. Cool. That's really cool.
Thank you.
So Horror House Media online, and then if people want to find you online, how can they do that?
All you have to do is just michaelcoulombe.com. I have everything on there about all of my projects. Horror House is on there. My podcast is on there. It's a one-stop shop. michaelcoulombe.com.
Awesome. Cool. Awesome. We'll put all the links too in the show notes. So thank you so much for joining us today and taking some time.
Oh my God, you're so welcome. I know I talk a lot. I'm sorry, but I just get so excited. I'm like unbelievably passionate. So
you should be passionate about what you do.
Hey, we'll have to have you back when you can talk about some of those other projects.
Oh, without a doubt, we'll talk about more writing therapy and stuff because I love it. I get people tell me all the time, they're like, God, when I meet you, you're such an inspiration. I was like, am I? Like, I'm just so busy trying to get stuff done, and I love this is why I think the networking event was so successful. I just love talking to people. They're like, I'll meet people, and they're like, I want to do what you do. I'm like, okay, let's just do it. And they're like, how do you do it? I'm like, I don't know. You just do it. Like, I don't. But and they're like, you make it sound so easy. And I was like, I just did it. I mean, I walked off my job at the age of 30, right? So I sat there and watched people. I meet people who in their 20s that walk off their job and or just come out of film school and doing it. And I'm like, damn, if I was brave enough to start it 10 years earlier, I'd be 10 years further along. Or not, I don't know. But I definitely I love what I do and I'm passionate about it. So, and I hated my job. I used to go.
To me. I don't know.
What'd you say?
I said it's pretty inspirational to me.
Well, I love it, and I know that you write horror too. Actually, you both like horror, right?
I've acted in it. I don't really write it as much as Tom does.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I didn't start off to be a horror writer. I kind of like accidentally got into it. So
yeah, I feel like we've had this conversation before, not that long ago.
yeah, yeah.
Awesome. You
Great.
guys are
Well,
great.
we will definitely put all your information up in the show notes. So if people want to find you online, that's where they can do it. And for all of you out there, if you have any questions, make sure you look up Michael online. You can also tweet at us at WG Therapy. You can find us online at writersgrouptherapy.com. If you like what you hear, subscribe and share it with your friends. We'll see you next week.